Hello, ladies and gents. Man, I had quite a headache figuring out what today's video should be about. First, I plan to announce the Road to 5,000 subscriber giveaway, but I'm still in talks about some parts of it, and as I hope to get even more goodies for you, we have to wait a few more days for it. Then I thought, no problem, I have a lot of fantastic PvP replays from Armored Warfare from the recent replay contest we had, so let's have a look at that. And that's when I realized that the recent patch broke all of them, so now I have a ton of excellent replays I can't use. As far as I know, I can't even keep the older client versions like with World of Tanks and World of Warships, as I have to load the replays within the game and you have to update it to run it. So, I'm screwed. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, and do let me know if you still have the old version where you could record the replay files for me. I still have them at hand. So, after all of this, I thought, never mind, I have a brand new Armored Warfare PvP replay as well, featuring a Challenger 1 platoon. Om nom nom nom. Turns out, the replay system at the moment is a little bit drunk, as it displayed all tanks including our own team as red, making it impossible to make out what was happening. I mean, for fuck's sake. But nothing is lost, as I have a ton of superb World of Tanks replays in stock. That's always fun to watch. Today's replay is courtesy of Lockhazer, whom you might already know from some of the previous replays. Turns out, he also really likes his Centurion 7.1, as I received multiple ace tanker games in it. And I think I selected a pretty nice one for you in this tier 10 match. Check this one out. Alright, so here we are on Prohorovka in our Centurion in a standard match, and oh boy, 44% chance to win. 2/3 of both of the teams are tier 10s, couple of tier 9s, couple of tier 8s. Well, this won't be an easy one. But the Centurion 7.1 is not a bad machine, even though it's the size of a barn and it's not one of the most mobile of medium tanks. It has a top speed of 40 km per hour, a relatively quite low power to weight ratio with only 18 horsepower per ton, and even the traverse speed is, well, less than impressive, 32 degrees per second on the hull traverse and 37 degrees per second on the turret traverse. So, we have to be careful because we will not be zooming up and down on this ridgeline. By the way, speaking about the ridgeline, this is a very strong position here in the middle. However, there is one artillery on the enemy team and it's a very dangerous Conqueror anchorage, and whoa, Object 907. Suddenly appearing in front of us, not what we would like to see. So this is a strong but dangerous place to be. Now, Centurions are typically very good on ridgelines. However, on Prohorovka what you will quite often see is the guys camping at the back of the 1 and 2 lines will do their best to remain hidden, while the guys going on the hill are quite often will stay on our side of the hill, on the slopes, trying to snipe to the middle, not really wanting to go over the hill. Which means both sides will remain hidden, and as on the main ridge, both of the teams will just try to peek over, spotting the enemy. It's actually the middle that will be mostly visible. And guess who will artillery shoot at? Well, they will shoot at the guys, and unfortunately that one goes into the tracks. Super unlucky. So they will shoot at the guys who will be visible, which will be us. And an AMX-50B and the medium tank, tier 9 medium tanks, is a very inviting target, and there we go. There is artillery. So we absolutely have to keep on moving, and Centurion is a slowish machine, so we will have to do our best to get out of range. Now that was only splash damage, and still it was almost for 500 damage. The Conqueror anchorage has an extreme blast radius. Basically, probably it knocked over a couple of trees around our cap circle as well. Oh, by the way, I really like what Lockhazer did in this replay. He notified the team that the Conqueror gun carriage is now reloading, which means, I don't know from the top of my head, but usually around a good 40 seconds free reign without having to fear being rebalanced from above. And there we see problem with the western front on the 1-2 line. Even a highly armored machine like the Mouse does not stand a chance once it gets spotted. It's just a crazy part of this map, and I really hope that they will redesign it sometime, because right now it's a campfest, and the first one who moves forward is the first one who gets butchered most of the time. Talking about getting butchered, it would be really nice if he could spot that IS-7. Very dangerous machine, there he goes, side shot, no problem. Let's get weakly back into cover, really don't want to sit in the open while being spotted in that position. So far not too bad. However, this is a map where we really have to be careful. Trying to spot the enemy from the mid, playing safe, playing a little bit reserved, is the way to go. The first ones to try to make a rush will end up smoking wreck, even if they are in such a very dangerous machines like that IS-7 or the Mouse. So let's try not to join them. Object 704 spotted. Very dangerous guy. I probably would have gone for the Object 704, securing the kill as soon as possible. But he gets taken out and we get to shot at the side of the T-57, which is also a dangerous target. Let's see if we can sneak one more shot in. 10 degrees of gun depression. No problem. It would have been perhaps even more advantageous if we would have gone for the retracking, but getting even more over the ridgeline, revealing a lot from our tank, would have been a dangerous move, so overall this was the safe choice to do. Enemies are a little bit more aggressive this time around. Now let's try to keep them lit. There is a very dangerous patch at 15558 artillery on our team, and that guy has the auto-loader, so if he can loop a couple of shells into those tier 10s on the other side of the ridge, that would be awesome. So far the match is looking actually quite alright, but it's nothing that we can just sit back and relax on. There are a lot of very good players on very strong tier 10 machines on the enemy team as well, so let's try to be careful. We have been spotted, so let's quickly get back. That was probably a hit unless it was absorbed by the tracks. And that's again something that I really like about this replay. Constantly being on the move, which is, well, first of all, makes us a difficult target, and second of all, changing the sides allows us to spot in different locations and support where it's needed the most. Oh, that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, the aim slipped a little bit there. The Centurion 7.1 has a really good base penetration with its standard APCR rounds, 268. But shooting at the front of tier 10s, we still have to aim for weak spots with it. By the way, the DPM on this machine is rather mediocre actually. Ooh, and that's a really juicy soft target. And oh, that's a little bit unfortunate, dunking it into the onto the ridgeline there. So the DPM is quite mediocre, only about 2000 damage per minute, which is something that machines of much lower tier are also capable of doing, so it's not that impressive, and that's down to the rate of fire. This thing has a base reload of 11.5 seconds, which means just over 5 rounds per minute. Now, given the alpha damage is quite nice, 390 per shot, but only 5 rounds a minute? So-so. It's definitely not about burst damage, it's doing consistent damage and taking out big chunks out of the enemy. Whoops. A little bit late there as well. By the way, I didn't mention before, but as usual with Lockheed's as replace, he's playing with some pretty high ping, over 200 milliseconds the entire match, so quite a lot of these missed shots are actually down to that. But in the end, that makes the result even more impressive. So it seems the 1 and 2 lines have been cleared off. Everybody has been already spotted. But Objects 907 has changed flanks, trying to move up, which is a foolish move to do. And he gets taken out, and now it's absolutely safe to go down that road. So that means those guys with the IS-7 and the E4 really should push the advantage, move down the one line, staying in the low ground, and then get some side shots or even rear shots of the enemies, all culminating around this ridgeline. WZ is pinging the map for them to do exactly just that. Unfortunately, it seems they are camping a little bit too hard on that side. In the meantime, I really don't know what the T-57 is doing. Well, mostly committing suicide by putting himself absolutely out of position. Didn't make much sense, really. And it would be really nice if he could take that E5 out. But getting a side shot at the IS-4 was not a bad thing either. Probably I would have been a little bit cheeky, especially as he was not aiming at us. Would have tried to take the E5 out. But again, this was the safer option. Oh, there he is. Come on. Unlucky. We did not let it fully aim, but the E5 was turning already his turret towards us. Now, if you let it fully aim, this machine has a 0.31 meter dispersion, which is absolutely fantastic. Snapshots are a little bit hit and miss. See, we have to wait quite a bit. Though the aim time is not horrible, 2.2 seconds at base is not bad as such. IS-4, some side shots, so he was already waiting for us and he's firing heat. Not that you would really need it for this machine. Tier 10s will have no problem going through this armor. And that was a really useful shot. Tracked him in place. So he wasted a little bit of time until he repaired it and put another good round into him. Now Lockheed actually decides not to repair his ammo rack or his driver, probably because he expects the enemy to be taken out before he gets to them. I'm not quite sure. I would probably repair at least the ammo rack right away. Just to make sure that we can get as much damage in these last seconds of the battle as possible. Now, let's not rush ahead foolishly. Both the FE and the E5 are still very dangerous tanks, even if they are cornered. And they are in relatively strong positions. And we are a one-shot kill. So, it would be a shame to throw this one away right at this stage. Now, holding fire there was probably the good thing to do. That was a really chancy shot. Let's wait for a better opportunity. And yes, safe thing would be for the Lorraine to cap. You can still take shots at the enemy while sitting in the cap as well, putting a bit more pressure on them. And we get to take one shot at the E5. And indeed he gets taken out. So, not a bad result. So, that was some pretty solid support gameplay. Out of light tanks on Prohorovka? No problem, we can do everything they can and then some. So, this was an ace tanker gameplay with fire for effect and spotter rewards on top. And what did we have to do for all of this? Well, let's have a look. So we did almost 3000 damage and scored 2 kills. Not bad finishing in the top 3 by damage done in a heavily tier 10 match. Even better if you finish on top by experience. But here is the real deal. Over 5000 spotting damage in a scout the size of a barn. Working the ridge lines in the Centurion has always been rewarding, so don't underestimate the usefulness of a bit of active scouting, even if you are in a tier 9 machine. During the match we have fired 19 shots, 15 of which hit the target, but sadly only 9 of them penetrated as well. Part of this was down to the high ping and part of this was due to the well-armored opposition. On the other hand, we have been hit twice and took damage twice, not counting the splash by artillery in the beginning. So looking after our health was actually really crucial, as we could not have hoped to bounce a lot in this match. So, this was Lockhazer in his Centurion 7-1. Many thanks once again for all the great replays. I hope you have been entertained by this nifty little tier 10 action. If you were, thanks a lot for considering giving it a like or sharing it. Next week there is a lot of cool stuff coming your way, including some giveaways. So stay tuned. Right now, however, have a great weekend and great weekend games. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon.